Welcome, Exiles. Today we are going to be diving into my Chayula Monk build for Path of Exile 2. It's a powerful, efficient, and fun build that excels at both mapping and bossing. This build utilizes Tempest Flurry in combination with Charge Staff and the Tempest Bell, and it focuses on high damage, survivability, and quite a lot of ease of play. Whether you're new to Path of Exile or a seasoned veteran, this setup will help you tackle any challenge that game will throw at you. And stick around to see how this build handles to end game content, high tier bosses and as well delirious mapping. Let's dive in. Essentially, what we are doing is taking as a core of the build, we're taking Tempest Flurry, which synergizes with a lot of the things that we are having, including Herald of Thunder, including Cast of Shock. This is the most recent addition in the updated build. Charge stuff, of course. We are having Tempest Bell. We are having Combat Frenzy in order to help us generate those power charges in order to keep charge stuff up and all the time. Herald of Ice combination with Herald of Thunder, where you are swapping the ailments on both of them. So Herald of Ice would be doing lightning damage mostly, where Herald of Thunder will be doing cold damage, and that's gonna allow you to explode things, right? And then for defensive layers, we're having Grim Fist. On my build, as you can see over here, on the bottom left corner, we're having 2973 shields. Can be higher with better gear, but Grim Fist allows us to double that in most of the encounters. And on top of that, we are having Wind Dancer, which will help us increase our evasion. So that's pretty much the overview of it. Why is the build powerful? The build is powerful because we are using scaling damage. So we are having both dexterity scaling and intelligence scaling. Nothing crazy like stacking, but still helps. And the reason why we have that is because we are running Hand of Wisdom in action. On top of that, we are having Ingenuity utility belt, and we are running 2 Bridge Rings. Now, for people that are following build for a while already, you might have noticed we don't have Flicker Strike anymore. And as you will be seeing from the showcases that I'm showing you, there is really no need for flickering anymore. Before, I used to use it in breaches when there is a lot of density, so it was easy to jump around, kill everything. But recently, what I have noticed is lack of density after the most recent patch, and due to that reason we are not utilizing flicker anymore, and instead of that I have put another bridge ring, and that has allowed me to, according to Path of Building, which I highly recommend you to start using, increase my DPS overall by around 20%, where flicker would be really used optional, and I wouldn't really use it on the bossing. So yes, this is essentially how it works. As you guys are aware, this is kind of melee slash ranged build. The thing is that with the Tempest Flurry, once you're striking targets, what we are doing is it's only really like melee range where it does the full DPS, right? But you will see that even the charge stuff, the shockwaves from the charge stuff, are more than enough to wipe your screens, right? And if they get in the melee range, they get obviously higher damage. Tempest Bell, I'm barely even using, except if it's a boss. So this is pretty much three keys built. That's all you need to worry about. And in reality, charge stuff, you're not gonna be pressing all the time. You get 5 charges, you let it run, and you know just go on. So yeah, this is essentially it. Now, when it comes to the skills themselves, what we're running is Into the Breach. Same thing like before. We are putting support gems over here, and these support gems are not requiring extra spirits. So we are having all of them active over there, including Herbalism, Clarity, and Precision. When it comes to Tempest Flurry, we are running with Martial Tempo, Concentrated Effect, Ambush. This is something that I took off from Flickr. So we are having 100% more critical hit chance against enemies that are on full life. As you can see on my tooltip over here, we have 57% critical hit chance. So doubling that with ambush is obviously over 100%. So if the enemy is on a full life, you're gonna do a critical hit on him in 100%. Now I put this as a placeholder. Most likely what I'm gonna be doing is take over here and put a rage, which is something that we could actually do now. For example, we can put rage instead of ambush over there, and what we can do as well is then I forgot the name of it, but we're gonna make it right now. We're gonna put a support gem on the Tempest Bell, which is gonna give us Rage Forged, right? So we're gonna use Rage Forged on it instead, okay? And that seems to be viable. Now we're gonna get to explanation of that as well. Primal Armament, it's increasing our weapon elemental damage by 25%. So as you can see, just taking it off, almost 100k difference. And Electrocute, right? This is the whole reason why we can generate those power charges. I still need to test it without Electrocute, frankly, because we are having a lot of explosions. I'm just worried about generating power charges on bosses, so I'll need to see how that works out, but most likely we're gonna keep it. When it comes to Herald of Thunder, like I mentioned, we're gonna be doing mainly cold damage with it, so we're having Glaciation, we're having Cold Diffusion, Cold Penetration, Innervate, and Ice Bite. Now, when it comes to Cast and Shock, this is another addition that essentially help us to make enemies weaker to our critical, right? And what it does, it inflicts critical weakness, giving us 0.5% critical hit chance that can stack up to 20 times for the total of additional 10% critical hit chance. So that goes to 67%, right? We're doing Chain on it, and we are doing Inspiration. So those triggered abilities will cost less energy, and you will notice how the mana bar can drain. Then we are having charge stuff, lightning exposure, cold exposure, persistence, lightning penetration, and neural overload. Wind dancer, same as before. We are running with lockdown, we are running with pin, we are running with blind. That as well can generate your power charges because we are able to pin. Pin is another way of generating power charges besides freeze and Electrocute. And that goes from Combat Frenzy, right? Because Combat Frenzy, as you can see the description, we're getting Frenzy charges, but due to us having Resonance in the skill tree, which we're gonna go over, this allows us to do just that. And to flip those Frenzy charges into the power charges. When it comes to Tempest Bell, Heavy Swing, Rage Forge that we just slotted, right? Consuming that rage that we're gonna be stacking from using the Tempest Flurry, and then allowing this skill to do 35% more damage. Ruthless for the stun buildup, Overabundance so we can do Double Bell, and Super Critical, lowering our critical hit chance, although on the other side increasing the critical damage by 100%. And we can see that critical hit chance over here is 45%, right? So lowering it, but critical damage bonus is higher. Then Herald of Ice, like I mentioned earlier, this one is lightning, so we're having magnified effect, so explosions can take a higher chunk of the screen. Conduction, allowing us to shock more. Overcharge, the magnitude of shocks are going to be increased. Lightning infusion on the kills that we're getting, we are essentially gaining lightning damage. Pardon me, on the damage that we're dealing, we are getting lightning damage, but we're doing less cold and fire damage. And biting frost, so no freeze buildup, but they can consume freeze to deal 50% more damage. And Green Fist, self-explanatory, we don't need to really go into it, but essentially allows you to overflow your energy shield by killing enemies. Which is not great for bossing, especially like King of the Mist, where you don't have a single minion. So in this kind of a case, I would recommend you to swap it out with Ghost Dance instead. So that's the skills. Now, considering the items, okay, we have made some changes. Now, for example, this stuff over here only has 351 DPS. 351 DPS. But what it does for our build is a lot. Okay, we're having physical damage, lightning damage, increased elemental damage with attacks, because mainly we're doing elemental damage with attacks, especially lightning. Then we are having 4.2% critical hit chance, and we are having 6 to level of all melee skills. As well, gaining mana per enemy killed. Now, when we are mapping, mana is not really an issue, okay? But when we are bossing, we have to solve issue with the mana. And how do we solve it is by obviously getting over here Melting Maelstrom, Ultimate Mana Flask, which is a very nice piece that you can get yourself. And it allows us to instantly recover all mana. It allows us every 3 seconds during the effect, which is lasting for almost 10 seconds, right? To deal 50% of mana spent in those seconds as chaos damage to enemies within 3 meters. As we're a melee class, this helps us a lot. It deals 25% of current mana as chaos damage to you when the effect ends, okay? But we are having Chaos Inoculation, so we don't take any damage from that. Now, last thing, when it comes to the stuff, we are having cores that are giving us increased critical damage bonus. Ideally, frankly speaking with you, I would try to get without a level 2 all melee skills, okay? Just because I hate pressing mana button. But instead of that, getting critical damage bonus suffix over there on the item. But it's very difficult to find items like that. Then we're having Hand of Wisdom in action, went over that a little bit earlier, allowing us to get more attack speed per 25 dexterity and 1 to 10 lightning damage per 10 intelligence. We are having Ingenuity, which is giving us as well extra energy shield. I managed to get that one, and another 70% bonuses gained from equipped rings. On the rings themselves, as you can see, I'm getting attacks, I'm just filling up my resistances over there, and a little bit of dexterity. Wish it was a better roll, but this is the best I could find using Path of Building. And then we are having the other breach ring, a little bit of rarity, increased lightning damage, lightning resistance, right? So what we got over here, we put lightning modifier, and we find 3 stats with lightning, right? Lightning damage, increased lightning damage, and lightning resistance. So buffing the quality of the ring buffs all 3 of these attributes. And for the amulet, we are unfortunately having one with life regeneration. But I love the stats on it, and this is why I got it. So we are still running that 50% increased evasion, 40% increased maximum energy shield. Wish it was higher, but this is what we found. 50 to spirit, 19 to all attributes, 32 dexterity, and 38 cold resistance, just so we can cap. And of course, allocating the storm charged, which is giving us 20% increased critical hit chance and 40% increased elemental damage if you dealt a critical hit recently. And due to our very high critical hit rates, we are essentially always having it. Recently is 4 seconds, okay? Headpiece with resistances, a little bit mana, so we can, continuously spam our spells, and intelligence. Then we are having 60 plus 61, right? On a armor piece over here. A little bit of a stun threshold, 5% increased movement speed inherent on the item. Not too bad, but I'm looking to eventually, win out and replace these items for something better. And the boots are giving us stats, as you can see, dexterity, intelligence, rarity, no resistances over here, but we are overcapped on resistances, so that doesn't really hurt us to have. Life Flask, I'm probably gonna be aiming to get Life Flask, unique Life Flask, but for now I'm just running this. allowing us 30% of recover applied instantly. So having ingenuity, that's 20, and here 30, so 50% of the flask is applied instantly. As well, reduce charge per use allow it to spam more often. And then what we're having over here is a charm that is giving us immunity to freeze, right? So that's essentially the items and the skills in a nutshell. Okay, now once we're coming to the skill tree, we are running Reality Rend. We are having Mana Leech's instance, so when we are picking up those flames, we can get that. The only thing what I'm thinking, maybe I will change as well. I just need to test this out to change perhaps Rootless over here, and instead of it to put Mana Leech. This is something that I'm thinking, but I'll have to play around with it just to see what is more sustainable. The other way that I would be changing stuff, if you don't want to run Chaos Inoculation, you can always go for Chayula's Gift and then just cap your resistance to around 43. You need 43%, including this node that's giving you essentially 14 because your Chaos resistance is double. Now, once we are going to the skill tree, we made a little slight changes. We are essentially patting through critical damage over here because we are mainly critting right now. Going through all of the same stuff, nothing really changed. Over here, I have decided to take Whirling Assault out. Now, I do know that it gives me a lot of attack speed, including the supporting node next to it, but the issue is that it knocks back enemies once you get a critical hit with Quarterstaff. And what I found very often is once I'm hitting the bosses, my strikes and the bell, they push the boss away from me, right? So I don't do enough DPS, right? It's actually hurting me more than it's helping me. So without this, it's allowing me to essentially keep it in the place and just continuously smack him. We did take one with the river, and this one with the river is actually coming to us from Megalomaniac Diamond over here, and we took as well Overwhelming Strike, which is giving us critical hit chance for attack, critical damage bonus for attack, and stun buildup with critical hits. Yes, and what with the river is not just bad for the defenses because it's buffing your energy shield and evasion at the same time, armor if you have it, which we don't, but it gives you daze buildup, not really needed for us, it gives you freeze buildup, which is good for us, and it gives you stun buildup, which as well is good for us. Okay, so that's the bottom half. Moving towards the top, we have taken these three nodes over here, okay? Lightning Penetration, because we took off Hand of Chayula, that allowed us to get that lightning resistance down using the conductivity, but because we took that off, now we're going with electric amplification, and that is giving us not only penetration but lightning exposure effect, right? Strengthening it further. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I will go quickly over the jewels, all right? So jewels over here with increased lightning damage, critical damage bonus for attack damage, increased attack damage, and attack speed with quarterstaffs. Then we're having, again, lightning damage, critical damage bonus, attack damage, attack speed with quarterstaffs. So those two are pretty much the same, right? The third one, lightning damage, critical damage bonus, increased damage with quarterstaffs, and increased attack speed. So similar, but it's just increased damage with quarterstaffs versus increased attack damage. Pretty much comes to the same thing, okay? Fourth one, critical hit chance, attack damage, attack speed, and increased elemental damage. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, we have this one as well. Lightning damage, critical hit chance, increased attack damage, attack speed. So those are like the stuff that you want to be searching for once you're doing. And again, I recommend you doing it with Path of Building because it's gonna give you a very, very good indication of what you should be doing. Okay, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the setup of the build. And it works quite well. It works quite well. And this is something that you're gonna be able to see in the following stuff that I'm gonna show you. Having said all that, please enjoy the rest of the video, showcasing you some of the abilities of the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to join my Discord, linked in the description. Subscribe to the channel, give a like, drop down a comment. I would really appreciate it. And as always, have a lovely day.